Dr. Hendri Tanjung, bisa dengar?
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Dr. Hendri Tanjung, Pak Dr. Hendri, can you hear me? Professor Wan Zahari. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Hendri Tanjung.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Mr. Cajee is with us right now. He's online.
Oh ya? Oh. Assalamualaikum, brother. Brother Zeinoul, Abedien, Cajee from South Africa. How are you? Please unmute your microphone.
Unmute your speaker.
Oh,
all right.
okay. Okay.
How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. How are you keeping? How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Good to see you again. Good
You
to
see my head?
Yes.
My head? Huh?
Beautiful. Jamil
Beautiful.
Jiddan.
You know from which region this one?
No. Sarawak.
Sarawak.
This is
Sarawak.
from West Java. This is
West
from
Java.
West Java. Yes.
Yeah.
Because in West Java, not in West Java, in Java, in Java Island, the type of topi like this, the type of head like this, there are 300 types.
Okay.
300 tribes. So every types describe the position of the people.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes. What time now in South Africa, in Cape Town?
Almost 9 o'clock.
Almost
And
9
as I was saying, it is like 4 degrees centigrade here. The weather is quite cold
Oh,
in South
mashallah.
Africa.
Yeah, that's why you wear jacket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are still waiting for Professor Wan Zahari. He was online, but having some trouble with his computer, I think. So we're still waiting for him.
Brother Zeinoul,
Yes, brother.
how is the figure of recent COVID now in Africa, in South Africa?
South Africa, we've got about 80,000 infections. 80,000.
80.
Yes.
80, not 18, not 18, yeah?
No, 80,000.
80. Okay, mashallah.
And we have about 1,800 deaths. People who have passed away now. So they say maybe this week there may be a very high spike.
Why?
So it will still be increasing a lot because they opened up quite a lot of the economy from last week. So because yesterday I went out and the roads were very busy, the shops were very busy. So I think it's going to be increasing very high.
Yeah.
Prof. Wan Zahari, we can see you right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Dr. Hendri Tanjung is now with us.
All right.
You may say salam
Prof.
to him.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Hendri ya?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, syukur.
Macam mana Malaysia sekini?
Okay, kita banyak bersyukur. Syukur kepada Allah, alhamdulillah, because COVID sekarang sudah kita sudah boleh kata bebas lah. Bebas, tetapi masih dalam recovery dalam pemulihan. Yeah. Alright, recovery stage, insyaAllah.
Shall we start?
Okay. Panitia, bisa kita mulai sekarang?
Silakan, Profi.
Dari panitia dulu, silakan.
Profi lanjut aja.
Okay.
This language English, I am nothing speak.
Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. To all audience, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Asrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wala haula wala quwata illa billahil aliyil azim. Thank you very much for all the panelists and also for all the audience for registering to follow this webinar. It is an international webinar where we have two foreign speakers and one Indonesian speaker. Before we start, I'd like to try to present some product here about the topic that we have today. The year 2020 is a very tough year and very difficult and yet a challenging period, not only for Indonesia, but for all nations around the world. It's become like a dark history of human life, socially, economically, and so on in all sectors of human life. Today, living amid the coronavirus disease 2019, or we used to call the COVID-19 pandemic, has forced us to rebuild and live in a new, weird, strange life where all aspects of human life has been threatened. People lost their jobs, shops, market lost their customers, students are unable to attend their classes, labor sector are threatened with mass dismissal, and in general we may say that the order of our socio-economic life is disrupted by this small creature that COVID-19. Moreover, this condition has pushed all socio-economic elements in a state of having to shift and take wind of change and adapt with this situation with a very fast pace. The government, education sector, health sector, religion, and traditional life, as well as economic, all in great disruption. Economically speaking, all countries are being infected by the COVID-19. Not only human beings are infected, it's ridiculous. But what I am going to say is that the economic standard of life is slowly decreasing. We are turning economically weaker day by day. I want to drive all of you, all of your imagination to a very simple fact or reality that I have divided into parts. Just imagine our life in April. We live in April with the help of saving that we own, whether it is in bank account or saving money that we save in our saving boxes. Not mentioning the poor people. In May, unfortunately, it was the Great Eid, Idul Fitri, as reflected on the tradition of Muslim in Indonesia. We received the so-called THR. THR is an allowance or a subsidy or a bonus in the shape of certain nominal given by the government or employer to their workers, meant to share together the happiness of Idul Fitri. What I mean here is that we live with the help of that THR in May. Then later, in June, right now, we live in June. We only have the remnant, the leftover of all of that THR and saving. I cannot imagine how hard the life would be in the coming month ahead. The government, however, is still struggling to stabilize our economy. The question is whether it is successful. It is just the question. The hope is, of course, we want the government to be successful so that everything will be back in normal. But we are Muslim, where we do understand that we have Quran as the guidance of way of life. In Islam, there are several types and forms of devices that have been prepared in order to maintain the economic condition of Muslim society. The emergence of the teaching of Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah, as well as Waqf is considered as an attempt at creating a social safety network in the economic field. Based on this short statement, we Muslims are able actually to help our government to cope with this global economic problem. Why? Because we are Muslim, we pay zakat, we pay infaq, we do Sadaqah, we perform Waqf, the government should have considered these economic tools of Islam in empowering the economy, the existing economy. According to the National Zakat Agency, Basnas of Indonesia, as stated in the Indonesian Zakat Outlook of 2018, it said that the potential of national zakat in Indonesia in 2018 amounted to 1.57% of GDP, or around 230 trillion, equal to 16 billion US dollar. Unfortunately, only 8 trillion, around 3.5% of the potential was realized. Imagine only 8 trillion, equal to 550 million US dollar. If only the whole potential of Zakat fund can be realized properly, of course, the fund might be used to help the community's economy. This is the potential of zakat, the potential of zakat. How about the potential of wakaf, especially the potential of cash wakaf in Indonesia? According to the Directorate of Wakaf, the potential of cash wakaf in Indonesia, 30 trillion per year, equal to more than 2 billion US dollar per year, assuming, underline it, assuming only 30 million Muslim population of Indonesia share cash wakaf of 80 US dollar per year, 1 million per year. And you know, the population of Muslim in Indonesia is more than 150 million Muslim. You can count it yourself, actually. Well, I think it's better if we get back to the history of Islamic civilization. Historically speaking, the active role of those tools, zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqaf, in providing public services was a significant way of reducing government spending and borrowing. It could also lead to then increase the potential saving to be spent on the private investment and overall economic growth. In various articles, as we found in internet or many books, it is stated that in Islamic countries, zakat and waqf system are the most dominant economic actors outside the government and are regarded as the main vehicle for financing Islam as a society. That's why we recognize the term of productive zakat, productive wakaf, and so on. Therefore, all audience, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive at some pivotal important question. How does zakat, infaq, sadaqah, or wakaf can contribute to empowering the socio-economic life of the people? Or how should the government of all countries utilize and maximize these socio-economic safety network tools of Islam? And do we have to rely on these socio-economic safety network tools of Islam? And will those tools work? Here we have three panelists will explain us and will answer all the questions in this webinar. We have here three panelists, one from Indonesia, Dr. Hendri Tanjung. He is the Deputy Director of the Graduate School, Universitas Ibnu Khaldun Bogor. He is also a member of Indonesian Waqaf Board in Indonesia, anggota dari Badan Wakaf Indonesia Pusat. And the second panelist we have here Professor Sir Dr. Wan Zahari bin Wan Yusoff, Waqf expert from University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. And the third panelist is Mr. Zeinoul Abedien Cajee. He is the CAO of National Awqaf of South Africa. Mr. Zainul Abidin Cajee, if I can mention here, besides as the expert of Waqf in South Africa, he is also listed among 500 of the world's most prominent and influential personalities in the Islamic world and economy since 2016 up to this year. What a remarkable achievement and accomplishment by him. It's my pleasure and our honor to have you, Mr. Zainul Abidin Cajee, in this seminar. Thank you very much for your joining here today. And before we get the first panelist, I'd like to say to the audience, mungkin bagi peserta seminar yang ragu untuk langsung bertanya kepada pembicara kita dalam bahasa Inggris, boleh menulis pertanyaan dalam bahasa Indonesia melalui chat private ke saya yang ada di Zoom, bukan publik, bukan chat publik, tapi private, biar saya gampang untuk mengumpulkannya, dan kemudian saya akan tanyakan kepada narasumber dalam bahasa Inggris. Jangan lupa tulis kepada siapa pertanyaan ditujukan. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we start the seminar with our first panelist from Malaysia, Professor Sir Dr. Wan Zahari. Please, Professor, with your presentation. Please unmute your speaker, Prof. Wan.
Pak Sofyandi, there is some problem. I cannot share my presentation, right? Try to see. Okay.
Brother Sofyandi, please let him as a co-host.
Okay.
Okay.
Pak Dr. Sofyandi, silakan dicoba. Sudah kita buka lock screen untuk share screen pemateri.
Boleh ya? Boleh? Okay.
Silakan Prof. Wan.
Alright, okay. Alhamdulillah. Boleh nampak ya? Share? Okay.
Yes.
Alright, boleh nampak ya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Yes, Prof.
Nampak.
Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Sahabat saya Sofyandi, Pak Sofyandi, bakal bergelar Dr. Sofyandi. Mr. Zainul Abidin from South Africa, and Dr. Hendri Tanjung, our panelists. Alhamdulillah, kita diizinkan Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kita dapat bersama di alam maya pada petang ini with the topic Islamic economic solution during the COVID-19 pandemic. Can we rely on zakat, infaq, sadaqah and waqaf? Siswa, insyaAllah. Setiap panel diberi dalam jangkaan around 20-25 minutes. Okay, insyaAllah. Okay. We try our best in the time given, insyaAllah. And I can see that almost 95% of the audience is in Indonesia and Malaysia. So I think I will use the mixed bahasa Inggris and also bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Malaysia, insyaAllah.
Melayu, Bro.
Dia lebih dekat. Boleh Pak ya?
Boleh.
Ya,
Okay,
ya.
insyaAllah.
That's
InsyaAllah.
best.
Okay, insyaAllah. Alright. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, seimbas lalu kita punya discussion kita lebih kepada overview of COVID-19, impact of COVID-19 on social and economics, sharing experience from Malaysia, can we rely on Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah and Waqf? What are the strategies, the way forward and concluding remark? InsyaAllah. Okay. For the introduction, pada hujung tahun 2019 yang lalu, dunia dikejutkan dengan pandemik virus COVID-19 ataupun coronavirus. Dan dikatakan ia bermula di Wuhan dan Hubei di China, dan kehadiran coronavirus yang bersaiz zarah tetapi boleh mengancam seluruh penduduk planet bumi. Itu yang bahaya. Menyebabkan dunia terhenti seketika. Dan sehingga kini belum ada sebarang virus antivirus yang ditemui untuk mengatasinya. COVID-19 bukan sahaja mengancam keselamatan dan nyawa manusia, bahkan ia turut merubah sistem kehidupan manusia, juga berupaya menjahanamkan sistem ekonomi sebahagian besar negara di dunia. Okay. This is data from WHO, Coronavirus Dashboard. Kita dapat lihat all over the world, hampir keseluruhan negara di dunia terlibat ataupun terkesan dengan coronavirus. Dan sehingga sekarang kita melihat lebih daripada 8.5 million population of the world terkesan dan terjejas. Hampir 500,000 meninggal. Itu dia. Jadi kesannya amat ketara sekali ya, coronavirus. Hampir seluruh penduduknya terasa. Okey. Adakah COVID-19 ciptaan manusia atau kemurkaan Tuhan? Itu persoalan yang selalu dibangkitkan, ditimbulkan. Is it human creation or destruction weapon that created untuk tujuan-tujuan tertentu, atau biological weapons, ataupun berpunca daripada pemakanan haiwan terlarang, etc. Itu di antara perkara yang terfikir dalam kepala kita semua. Tetapi saya tidak membahaskan itu. Cuma saya ingin mengajak supaya kita berfikir. Quran surah Ar-Rum ayat 41. Auzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Zaharal fasadu fil barri wal bahri bima kasabat aydin nas. Iziqhum ba'dallazi 'amilu la'allahum yarji'un. Sadaqallahul azim. Telah nampak kerosakan di darat dan di laut disebabkan perbuatan tangan-tangan manusia. Dan supaya Allah merasakan kepada mereka sebahagian dari akibat perbuatan mereka agar mereka kembali ke jalan yang benar. Quran surah Al-Ahzab ayat 17. Katakanlah, siapakah yang dapat melindungi kamu daripada ketentuan Allah jika dia menghendaki bencana atasmu atau menghendaki rahmat untuk dirimu? Mereka itu tidak akan mendapat pelindung dan penolong selain daripada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Dan surah At-Taghabun ayat 11. Tidak ada suatu musibah menimpa seorang kecuali dengan izin Allah, dan sesiapa beriman kepada Allah, nescaya Allah akan memberi petunjuk kepada hatinya. Dan Allah Maha mengetahui segala sesuatu. Jadi, setiap ujian dan musibah yang diturunkan kepada hamba-Nya oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala hanya dengan ketentuan dan serta kekuasaannya. Ia mempunyai hikmah yang perlu difikir dan dinilai setiap mukmin. Justru segala bencana dan musibah yang berlaku adalah ketetapan Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang memilih siapa yang akan menerima musibah itu, tempat dan waktu. Jadi apa yang pasti, ia mempunyai sebab tersurat dan tersirat yang perlu difikirkan oleh makhluk yang bernama manusia. Okey, sedikit saya sentuh. Sebelum hadirnya coronavirus, China versus Amerika, pada ketika ini atau sebelum ini, China dan Amerika adalah dua negara yang terhebat di muka bumi ini. Kedua-dua negara ini bersaing menguasai dunia baik dari segi ekonomi dan militeri. Kedua-dua negara ini mendakwa tiada kuasa yang boleh menunduk kehebatan mereka, dan kedua-dua buah negara ini juga merupakan pembuli kepada negara-negara kecil, khususnya negara umat Islam, termasuk rakyat yang sendiri. Maksud buli sini dari segi keselamatan dan juga ekonomi. Okey, sedikit kita mengambil iktibar daripada Al-Quran. Kisah Namrud dikalahkan oleh seekor nyamuk. Raja Namrud yang hebat dan menguasai Mesopotamia dan bangsa Babylon pada suatu ketika dahulu dengan kekejaman dan kesombongannya, dengan jumlah bala tentera 700,000 orang yang menyerang Nabi Ibrahim AS serta mencabar Tuhan yang disembah Nabi Ibrahim agar menyelamatkan. Allah SWT mengirim nyamuk untuk menghancur lunyai tentera Nabi Ibrahim AS. Namrud hanya dikalahkan oleh seekor nyamuk yang masuk melalui rongga hidung dan menggigit otak Namrud sehingga mati. Kita melihat itu nyamuk, ini virus corona. Virus kecil, okey. Begitu juga dengan kisah tentera bergajah Abraha. Kisah tentera bergajah Abraha yang sombong dan mencabar Tuhan semesta alam dengan kekuatan bala tentera 60,000 orang menyerang Kaabah. Akhirnya dikalahkan dengan burung-burung yang melemparkan batu-batu kecil dari tanah liat yang dibakar, sehingga mereka dijadikannya seperti daun-daun yang dimakan ulat. Ini dua kisah yang saya ambil daripada Al-Quran. Dan virus kecil bersaiz zarah berdiameter 2.5 mikrometer. Virus bersaiz kecil ini berupaya untuk memasuki saluran pernafasan dan seterusnya ke paru-paru dan menyerang sistem pernafasan manusia dan boleh membunuh. Virus kecil ini amat ditakuti oleh semua penduduk dunia dan ia mengesani dan menyebabkan aktiviti penduduk bumi terhenti. Begitulah kehebatan dan kekuasaan yang ditunjuk oleh Allah SWT melalui makhluknya yang teramat kecil ini. Ini merupakan peringatan daripada Allah kepada kaum yang sombong dan zalim yang merasakan mereka hebat, dapat menguasai muka bumi ini baik dari segi kuasa politik, ketenteraan dan ekonomi. Dan ini tidak lain dan tidak bukan agar kita berfikir. Okey. Impak COVID-19 terhadap ekonomi dan peradaban manusia. Okay. Kita melihat dicatat top 10, top 5 negara yang terkesan paling banyak sekali United States. Sekarang ni 2.2 juta, 2.2 million. Brazil, Rusia, United Kingdom, India. Dan ya. Okey. And then kemusnahan ekonomi kita melihat. Kita melihat kemusnahan ekonomi, economic destruction. In terms of stock market, since the start of the outbreak, kita tengok Nikkei, stock market Nikkei menjunam jatuh. Kemudian Dow Jones yang hebat dan gah di muka bumi juga jatuh menjunam. FT Stock Exchange juga jatuh. Begitulah kesan secara overview. Dan kita melihat kesan kepada global GDP. China terkesan. Japan juga terkesan. Other Asia, Eurozone, United States, semua terkesan. Okey. Kita cuba memahami bagaimana COVID-19 memberi impak kepada pekerja dan isi rumah. Pertama, okay, kita melihat penurunan permintaan ekspor barangan dan penggunaan. Apabila penurunan permintaan penggunaan oleh negara-negara terkesan COVID-19 dan juga ekspor perkhidmatan pelancongan juga menurun. Dengan demikian, permintaan domestik juga menurun. Bila permintaan menurun, perbelanjaan pelancongan domestik juga menurun. Ini di antara ekosistem, industri makanan, food, tourism, industri, construction and manufacturing, agriculture, construction and services. Ini semua industri. Industri ini jelas terkesan. Macam mana terkesan? Apabila perintah kawalan pergerakan, okay, apabila manusia tidak boleh bergerak, apabila bumi terhenti. Okey, ada satu lagu, bila dunia sudah terhenti, kan? Lagu dakwah daripada Indonesia, kan? Okey. Jadi penurunan pengeluaran terhad hanya pengeluaran makanan dan sektor kritikal. Jadi dia memberi impak kepada pekerja, impak kepada semua golongan, dan apabila ini berlaku, ia memberi kesusahan yang ketara kepada semua penduduk. Okey. Okey, ini saya kongsikan senario di Malaysia. Laporan kajian khas Jabatan Statistik Malaysia, impak pelaksanaan perintah kawalan pergerakan PKP dan wabak COVID-19 terhadap ekonomi. Okey, Malaysian scenario. Sepanjang tempoh PKP, perbelanjaan isi rumah keseluruhan berkurang 15%. Yep.
Hello.
Yes, okay. Halo. Yep. Okey, sepanjang tempoh PKP, perbelanjaan isi rumah keseluruhan berkurang 55%. Alright. Dan kajian juga menunjukkan 53% sangat terkesan dari segi keuangan. Cuma 6% merasakan mereka kurang berkesan. Begitu juga, majoriti pekerja sendiri mempunyai simpanan kewangan kurang 1 bulan. Majoriti, 71% simpanan untuk kewangan kurang daripada 1 bulan. 77% majikan, majikan dan 82% pekerja swasta mempunyai simpanan kewangan hampir 2 bulan. Dan penurunan perbelanjaan ketara, ini top 20 high income, almost 60% affected, and middle class 40%, middle group almost 50%, affected, and below 40 income group level 41% terjejas. Dan negeri paling terkesan adalah Sabah 67%, Kelantan 65%, Perlis 64%, Perak 62%, Terengganu 61%, dan Kedah 61%. Dan ia memberi kesan juga kepada pertumbuhan KDNK. Alright. Okey. Kesan pandemik COVID-19 kepada ekonomi dunia. Ia memberi kesan bukan sedikit, tapi dia boleh melumpuhkan ekonomi dunia. Dan ia memberi kesan melalui 3 cara. Satu, penurunan permintaan ekspor, penurunan permintaan domestik, dan kesan pelaksanaan perintah kawalan pergerakan. Alright. Okey, apa sektor yang paling terjejas teruk? Pertama sekali adalah aviation sector, transportation, tourism, hospitality, education, manufacturing, and perintah kawalan pergerakan untuk memutuskan rantaian COVID. Okey, menyebabkan aktiviti ekonomi terhenti, hilang perniagaan, hilang pekerjaan, hilang punca pendapatan dan pencarian, and rakyat marhaen suka meneruskan hidup dan menyara keluarga. Hari ini hari bapa. Today is Father's Day. Sambutan seluruh dunia, tapi bapaknya agak sukar untuk menyara keluarga dalam keadaan sekarang. Okey. Cara ringkasnya, pelaksanaan PKP, perintah kawalan pergerakan, dan wabak COVID-19 telah menjejaskan daya imuniti keuangan isi rumah, peniaga dan majikan untuk terus bertahan dalam tempoh kritikal ini. Justru sokongan dalam bentuk suntikan dan bantuan pernafasan perlu disalur mengikut keperluan oleh pihak kerajaan, institusi kewangan, Baitul Mal, NGO secara bersama dan saksama bagi menjamin kelangsungan hidup dan kesejahteraan rakyat terpelihara. Maka apa solusinya? What is the solution? Sharing experience, sedikit sharing experience from Malaysia dalam menangani COVID-19. Alhamdulillah kita diberi kerajaan baru di bawah pimpinan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin telah mengumumkan pakej rancangan ekonomi, stimulus package 250 billion. Ini hampir menyamai satu perbelanjaan untuk 1 tahun. Tapi ini satu pakej yang di luar dugaan. Dan yang menariknya, pakej ini, kewangan ini bukan semua-semua daripada luar, tetapi daripada dalam. Kita ada duit sebenarnya. Dan saya yakin Indonesia dengan penduduknya yang begitu ramai, ada wangnya banyak. Jadi kita gambling ini internal sources without doing any bond atau loan from outside. So ini menjamin kita punya maruah dan sebagainya. Jadi kita ini pada dalam 250 bilion. 128 bilion disalur untuk melindungi kebajikan rakyat. 100 bilion untuk menyokong perniagaan, to support the business and investment. Industri kecil and sederhana. Alright. Manakala 2 bilion diperuntuk untuk memperkukuh ekonomi negara. Ini daripada kerajaan sendiri daripada pihak pemerintah. Okey. Kemudian kita tidak berhenti di situ. Kita ada pakej rancangan ekonomi 2 yang dinamakan penjana to make sure that apa-apa bajet dan peruntukan sampai kepada sasaran. Okay. Kita melihat moratorium. I want to share. Moratorium ini adalah satu perkara yang tidak pernah kita terfikir. Semua hutang-hutang di bank, hutang-hutang kereta, hutang rumah, hutang personal loan, everything stop by the government. Tak perlu bayar pada bank. Selama 6 bulan. Okey. Ini suatu yang rahmat bagi rakyat Malaysia. Bermula daripada bulan 3, bulan 4 sampai bulan 10 Oktober, we no need to pay any single cent to the banks. That's very good, moratorium. Okay, that's why sekarang kalau kita melihat, minta maaf, dalam keadaan moratorium di sini di Malaysia, masih ramai lagi orang ke kedai emas dapat membeli. Ramai lagi orang boleh membeli kenderaan, sekarang rancak pembelian kenderaan. Because kerajaan telah menghapuskan cukai. Tax 100% for the local car producer. Sekarang 100% tak kena cukai. Jadi kenderaan harga turun. Bila kenderaan turun, ramai yang membeli sebab tidak perlu membayar pada bank buat masa ini dan kenderaan import 50%. Dan ini mewujudkan peluang pekerjaan dan rangkaian aktiviti ekonomi. Begitu juga penurunan kadar faedah bank, BLR ke paras terendah. Sekarang ini kalau personal loan atau untuk bisnes, kita bank banyak menawarkan serendah 2.5% pinjaman per year. Very low interest rate. Dan penghapusan duty stamp, harta tanah 100% untuk harta tanah bernilai 300,000, almost 100 USD hingga 2.5 millions. Ini tujuan untuk merancakkan proses jual beli harta tanah. Dan subsidi upah kepada majikan. Kerajaan bayar upah, gaji, subsidi kepada majikan, employer, to ensure that the employer can pay the salary to the pekerja. Juga bantuan geran kewangan kepada AKS dan sebagainya. Okay. Dan yang menarik lagi, pakej bantuan langsung pendapatan isi rumah untuk middle class 40%, antara income 4,000 ke 8,000, kerajaan bagi 1 hingga 2 bulan 1,000 setiap isi rumah. Okay. We can see that. Pengeluaran KWSP daripada akaun boleh dibenarkan sehingga 6 bulan, dan untuk B40 group, okay, below B40 4,000, below than 4,000, 1,600 setiap isi rumah diberi wang. 800 individu bawa lebih pada 21 tahun yang berpendapatan bulanan 2,000 ke bawah. 500 individu 21 tahun yang pendapatan antara 2,000 4,000. Bantuan sara hidup dibayar Julai. Okey. penangguhan pinjaman selama 6 bulan. Ini semua sekali maknanya dilihat kerajaan yang begitu prihatin dan dapat membantu rakyat di semua peringkat, semua golongan daripada bawah sampai ke atas. Alhamdulillah. Dan ini adalah wangnya daripada khazanah negara, daripada wang khazanah negara, kekayaan negara. Okey. Strategi nombor 1. Yang tadi saya jelaskan, penurunan kadar dasar atau base lending rate from the central bank. Okey. Negara sebelum ini memperkenalkan kadar lebih rendah berbanding kini 2.5%. Ini base lending rate. Jadi dia sekarang ini lebih rendah lagi kadarnya. Lebih rendah kadar faedah pinjaman, lebih baik dan lebih cepat ekonomi dapat dipulihkan. Lebih cepat ekonomi dapat dipulihkan, lebih banyak peluang pekerjaan dicipta. And strategi number 2, penurunan kadar cukai pendapatan. Semakin
I'm sorry, Prof. Wan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Prof. Wan.
Yeah.
I interrupt our audience from India, from Pakistan, and non-Malay country.
Yeah.
Cannot understand your language.
All right.
Perhaps,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I try to switch. But
Okay.
Sorry for preparing in bahasa. Okay.
Sir, can you explain in English? I can't understand your language.
Inshallah.
Okay.
I try my best. Okay. Strategy number 2, to reduce the income tax rate. This will increase the perbelanjaan. Okay. The affordable for the purchaser. All right. They will increase the kuasa beli, purchaser. All right. And then of course money, more money in the market. All right. And then strategy number 3, to develop more project for infrastructure and public, such as highway, train, airport. This is what we the strategy from the Malaysia, isn't it? School with the investment valued at more billion ringgit, isn't it? This is very important to ensure that economy if move, the movement economy and all activities and all the people or population get the activities and business. All right. Another one is a strategy for dana or fund for the people, no workers people. Okay. When effect the COVID-19, there are a lot of people retrenchment happen. Then we have the funding from the government, isn't it? And another one, strategy number 5, to develop the portal for searching for the working a job. Okay, this from the company, government, and everything to ensure that easier way people can get the job or business activities. All right. And strategy number 6, try to improve digital economy, because when we cannot move, we need the business online, business, more activities business online, such as ordering food panda and everything. This is very important. Then this not only for the local, but for the serantau, the neighbors country, like Indonesia, Malaysia. As we know, Indonesia is very good in terms of agriculture product. So that's very good. We should do the strategic partnership from our neighbors, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Bisakah? Can we rely on this what? Zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf. All right. Okay. Firman Allah Subhanahu wa taala, At-Taubah ayat 20. Orang-orang yang beriman dan berhijrah serta berjihad di jalan Allah dengan harta benda dan diri mereka adalah lebih tinggi darjatnya di sisi Allah. Dan itulah orang-orang yang mendapat kemenangan. Alright. Al-Baqarah ayat 261. Sadaqah is barakah. Firman Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Perumpamaan nafkah yang dikeluarkan oleh orang-orang yang menafkahkan hartanya di jalan Allah adalah seperti sebiji benih yang menumbuhkan 7 tangkai bulir. Pada tiap-tiap tangkai pula ada 100 biji. Allah melipat gandakan ganjaran bagi siapa yang dia kehendaki. Dan Allah maha luas karunia-Nya lagi maha mengetahui. Okay. Penglibatan badan-badan agama dan pengurus-pengurus ZISWAP. This means the involvement of religious body and ZISWAP managers, Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah, Waqf managers. All right. I want to show this from the Malaysian experience. We have just, I take 2 examples. First, Zakat Selangor. Zakat Selangor, you can see the website, you explore. They collect the money, Zakat, from January to March, almost 135 million for 3 months. And then they distribute it in the same period, January to March, almost 200,000. Okay, you can see. This is how calculator how to count the zakat. We can pay zakat through online, and we can also check. You can see all activities from the zakat managers, the SWAT managers. And you can also, we can see that bantuan perubatan, medical help for fakir miskin, okay. Bantuan sewa rumah, okay. House rental, okay. Fund and fi sabilillah, bantuan penerapan nilai Islam, yuran fee school for fakir miskin, gharimin, membantu orang yang tak boleh bayar hutang, bantuan kewangan bulanan, monthly, okay, and food for the poor, bantuan bina and baik pulih rumah fakir miskin. We also help to develop the house for the poor people. All right, you can see this is the form. You can do this through online, very friendly. All right. And then another one is we can see Majlis Agama Islam Negeri Johor. Okay. Okay, State Islamic Council of Johor. We can see permohonan bantuan segera perubatan for the medical, for the registration to the higher education, and then we can see that sempurnakanlah zakat, zakat perkasa, asnaf terbela, ummah sejahtera. Alright, and then we can see dalam tempoh ni bantuan perubatan segera, instant fund from the majlis or from the zakat managers. Okay, bantuan zakat and everything you can see. Alright. Also, our activities not just give the money, but try to groom them so that we can do the activities and do it in their own. For example, tunah asnaf for the motivation given to face the exam, facing the PMR and SPM, and also for Jana Asnaf Niaga to do the entrepreneurship for the asnaf. Okay, also everything in the night market, okay, small traders, and also for the Jana Asnaf chef, giving the training for the chef for the food. All right, you see, bread, donut, pizza, cake, and everything, roti canai, seafood. Jana Asnaf for the, okay, for the teller, for teller, okay, all right, and also for the nelayan, fishermen. for the ternakan. Okay. And bantuan hari raya fund, sara hidup bulanan, bantuan perubatan. Ini semua ni ada dalam for the SIRC, Islamic State Johor. Bantuan perumahan, bantuan berdikari, bantuan pendaftaran IPT, scholarship for the dress school, and everything. You can see that. I just show, all right. And another one, we have the another resources selain daripada zakat, infaq, sadaqah, waqaf, we have also baitul mal. So baitul mal resources from harta orang Islam yang mati tiada berwaris. So dia masuk dalam kewangan negara. And also harta orang Islam mati berwaris tapi tidak menghabisi harta. Okay. And then harta, property, sadaqah, khairat and waqaf, faedah bank, bank interest also can put in baitul mal, harta lukatah, harta dijumpai. Okay. Pemberian sadaqah, dharma and everything. Alright. Penglibatan NGO and badan amal. Alright. You can see that this NGO and badan amal for COVID-19, the government agency, Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat, Welfare Department, okay, telah coordinate almost 760 NGO that involved for the giving donation and everything to the COVID affected person. Okay.
Excuse me, Prof.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes more.
All right. Okay. All right. Then this almost value 20 million. Okay. And then we also have a individual, a very good individual icon like Ustaz Abedien, banyak menyumbang semasa PKP. Okay. Banyak insan-insan mulia yang menyumbang semasa PKP. Ini atas individu, inisiatif sendiri. Juga Uncle Kentang yang dermawan. Even he is not Muslim, but dia banyak membantu. Saya bukan kaya. Saya anak penoreh getah. I'm not rich. I'm very poor. Okay. But saya sebenarnya bukan cari kekayaan tapi ketenangan dan kedamaian jiwa. Kerana kita semua faham apa itu susah mati itu pasti. Sebelum mati pastikan orang lapar dan sekali itu diberi bantuan. Ini dia punya filosofi. Ramai orang-orang yang mulia. Dan bagaimana bisa menangani impak COVID-19. Pengembelingan tenaga dan kesatuan di pelbagai peringkat. Meaning that coordination from central government, state government, resort managers, resort agencies, NGO, and individual person. Dapatkah sistem ekonomi kapitalis bertahan? Ketuhanan sistem ekonomi barat teruji. Bahkan sistem kapitalis seperti gagal berhadapan dengan pandemik COVID-19. Runtuhnya pasaran saham dunia seperti yang kita melihat tadi, runtuhnya stock exchange, jatuhnya mata wang dunia, runtuhnya gergasi ekonomi dunia, jatuhnya harga minyak dunia ke paras terendah yang tak pernah kita lihat sebelum ini. Lumpuhnya aktiviti ekonomi di sebahagian besar negara di dunia. Alright. Sistem kapitalis West capitalist system versus Islamic economy. Alright. The paksinya, sistem kapitalis berorientasi profit oriented, untung, berpastikan untung, dan sistem ekonomi Islam based on sharing prosperity. Ini dia beza dia. That's the most different, very significant different. And kesedaran di pelbagai peringkat untuk kembali kepada Islam, for the economic, Islamic economic, zakat, waqaf, infaq, sadaqah, baitul mal, sudah tentu ziswat untuk kesejahteraan umat dunia dan akhirat, bukan sahaja kepada pemberi, bahkan kepada penerima. Jadi saya rasa itu saja dulu pembentangan saya. Mungkin selepas ini kalau ada kita akan simpulkan. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, back to Mr. Chairman. Sekian, terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much, Prof. Wan. Very long presentation, and we can have a what I can say. Malaysia is just like Baldatun Toyibatun Warabun Ghafur. I think where the government prepared everything very well, and the people beyond religion, beyond the tribes and everything work together in this very hard time of life. All right. We move to the second panelist from Indonesia, Dr. Hendri Tanjung. Dr. Hendri Tanjung, dipersilakan 20 up to 25 minutes for you.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, very clear.
Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah, we are now still in the good condition, and health very good also. And I would like to discuss about the Islamic economic solutions to pandemic COVID-19 Indonesia case, because it's interesting to discuss about the Indonesia case because I'm from Indonesia, and the other country may be different case. I'm from Universiti and also member of Indonesia. Okay. Some audience I saw from Pakistan, Sidra and Huzaifa. Kya hal hai? Theek hai?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah, fine.
I was graduate from International Islamic University, Islamabad. I got M.Phil and Ph.D. there. Also Huzaifa. Okay. Okay. The scenario of finance minister on April 2020 in Indonesia, there are two scenarios. The first is moderate, where the economy is still growing at 4%. And the second scenario, worst, where the economy grows only 2.5%, can even reach 0%. So I think with these two scenarios, government has prepared for the worst condition that we can have for the next 4 months or for the next 6 months. And current condition in June, because this is April, May, June. So after 3 months, economic growth for the first quarter reached 2.9%, meaning that the first scenario had occurred, okay, growing at 4% or below. And a prediction for the next quarter in Indonesia, contraction to 3.1%. So I think with this number, Indonesia will prepare or will have a recession in the next couple of months. So I think we should have all preparation for the recession. I think this is a worst condition for our economy. Let me show you our growth in the last 50 years. Indonesia actually experienced in the 2 times of negative growth. First time 1963. This is about minus 2.2% or 2.3%. And the second one, this is the deep one, 1997 and 1998, Asian crisis, Asian crisis, and Indonesia minus or contraction to minus 13%, 13, minus 13% of the growth of the economy. So and then try to recover in the next 5 years, and then try to get the previous growth in the 7% or less. than 7%. And at the end of the 5 has got experience in the 5%. And what does it mean? What are the consequences if the economy grows 1%? In macroeconomic theory, 1% economic growth is tantamount to the creation of new jobs of about 300,000 people to 500,000 people. So I got just the minimum number, 300,000 people. Meaning that if growing 1%, so the economy will have newcomers to the employ about 300%. And the contrary, if the economy contract 1%, meaning that the people who lose the jobs around 300,000 people. So this job creation of the economic growth is expected to arise from investment. So that's why all countries in the world try to have a positive growth to absorb the newcomers in the job, in the labor market, so that the graduate from the university can work, can absorb in the labor market. And the investment will come from the government, first one, the second one from the state-owned companies, third one from the private sector, fourth one from the domestic investment, and the last one from the foreign investment. Unfortunately, these 5 sources for the investment stuck with the pandemic. Government has stuck. Government has lost some tax collection fund. State-owned company suffered from the loss of the business. Private sector also like that. Domestic investment, we cannot rely on that. Foreign investment, all countries has a same experience. So with these 5 sources stuck, meaning that we cannot rely on investment, meaning that the growth of the economy will contract. I don't know to what amount, okay? What percent, for example. And in the next couple of months, we fear of a recession. Okay, because a recession occurs if there is a negative growth for the 2 consecutive quarters. The second quarter, we contract to 3.1%. And also Professor Zahari has mentioned before that all countries had the same experience. And the peak of economic severity is called the depression. Depression means deep, the recession is so deep. So this is the depression, and recovery from depression will require a long time. For example, Indonesia experienced on 1998 monetary crisis, which required a recovery period of more than 5 years. At the time, Indonesia's economic growth reached at the lowest point of minus 13%. And what about the economic solutions? Indonesia, government of Indonesia announced the stimulus, announced the disbursement of funds equal to 405.1 trillion rupiahs on April 1, 2020. So if I compare this number to Malaysian stimulus, 250 billion ringgit. So I think it is about 1,000 trillion rupiah. 1,000 trillion. So almost double than our more than double that Indonesia has a program of the stimulus of economy. So Malaysia better in this regards, although the population of Malaysia are less than Indonesian population. I think now around 30 million people, and Indonesia 250 65 million people. So one seventh, okay, from the Indonesia population. But the amount of the stimulus fund double than Indonesia has prepared. Our government make allocation to 4 sectors. The first one is the health sector, around 75 trillion rupiah. The second one for the social protection, 110 trillion rupiah. And the third one, tax incentive, 70.1 trillion rupiah. And the largest, and the biggest amount is for funding for the National Economic Recovery Program, because government knows if the economy of one country has experience in the recession or depression, so it takes time for the recovery. So the budget around 150. How about the society? I divide the society to the 2 group of people. The first one is rich people, or we call it muzaki in the zakat system. And the second one is the poor people, or we call it mustahil. Even though we can divide the people to the 5 groups, or maybe to the 6 groups, according to the income pyramid. But for me, for the simple one, we can divide it into 2: rich people muzaki or poor people mustahil. So for the muzaki, for the rich people, this is the time to do jihad, to sacrifice our wealth to help people. Through what? Through zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf, or we call it ziswaf. And for the poor people, okay, please be patient. Okay, because rich people or muzaki try their best to share some of their wealth to the poor people, and for the poor people, try to be patient to face the economic problem in the next months. And income pyramid of Indonesia, I took this from Frost and Sullivan, 2016. Indonesia here, 2020, estimated to 260 almost million people, million individuals, and divided into 4 classes. The first one is affluence, upper middle class, lower middle class, and poor people. Look at the poor people. The poor people estimated by Frost and Sullivan in Indonesia, 35 million. And the lower middle class, this is most affected by the COVID-19 from the economic side, 123 million people. So these people will got trouble when the pandemic takes a long time. And the middle class, upper middle class, and affluence, they are safe. But if the pandemic took up to next year, I think this middle class also got affected, because if we look from the left side, the middle class is the people or the individual with the income per capita expenditure around 1,460 to 3,650. So this is not too much money for safety from the COVID-19 if the pandemic takes long time. And from the Quran, Surat Rum, verse 39, we can read, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Wa ma ataitum min ribal liyarbuwa fi amwalin nas fala yarbu indallah. Wa ma ataitum min zakatin turiduna wajhallah fa ulaika humul mud'ifun. So this means that zakat and also the friends of zakat like infaq, sadaqah, okay, the same terms of zakat like waqaf. If we pay zakat, infaq, sadaqah, waqaf for the on behalf of Allah, for example, to get the ridha from Allah, to get rahmat from Allah, for example, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُضْعِفُونَ. So that is that the reward from Allah will be doubled. And when I got the interpretation, the tafsir of this ayat from Ibn Kathir, this is very clear that the reward of those who give alms is very big. Explained in the tafsir, a person does not give alms with a piece of date taken out of his lawful business, except Allah, the most gracious, will take it with his right hand, then keep it to the alms giver, as one of you keeps a foal or camel until the date become bigger than the hill of Uhud. Can you imagine? We just give one tamar, very small of tamar, or we call it kurma, satu butir kurma, and then if we give it with ikhlas for the sake of rahmat Allah, then Allah will double, not also double, Allah will make it bigger than the hill of Uhud, from the small form to the bigger form. So this means the double. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُضْعِفُونَ. So for the people, no doubt, the Islamic solution for this pandemic, we can rely on this waqf, zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf. Why? Because the government itself cannot do. Okay, and from this graph, this is the macroeconomic interpretation of the verse. I wrote it in one of my book, that income, output, and wealth. From the income, from the output, and from the wealth, we pay zakat and infaq, sadaqah, and waqf. And zakat, infaq, sadaqah, this is directly can help the poor people, directly can help the needy to increase their aggregate demand in terms of consumption. When the aggregate demand increase, no doubt the income also increase. And how about waqf? Now, this is the beauty of waqf. When people pay waqf, the waqf not directly disbursed to the needy, but it should be invest in a good business. Investment is the key of the waqf. Look at here, waqf, investment. And which kind of investment? No riba. No riba, without riba. Invest without riba. And if we do this one, investment without riba, and consequently, investment will increase aggregate demand and also increase income. And the other side, investment also increase aggregate supply and ultimately increase income, output, and wealth. So this is the beauty of this waqf, zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf. So in one hadith also saying that, I just translated the hadith, there is no poverty if the rich people in that village got responsibility to the poor people in the village. So can we imagine? Yeah, there is no poverty if the rich people in that village. So we cannot say in the country, in the world, no, in that village, the small area. If the rich people in that village responsible to the poverty of their people, of the people in that village. And also no iman, if the one sleep at the night with the full stomach, and his friend, for example, near their house, got trouble, suffering because of no food, for example, because of they cannot afford the food, for example. So this is the economic interpretation of the ZISWAF in the macro model. So I make it in this book, Macroeconomics and Approach. And this is my book also, and also I explain in this book Islamic economics, Islamic and economic of finance. Yeah, sorry. Islamic economic and finance, current issues. Okay, a new book published in April 2020. This is Alex Media Commuter publisher, 151 pages. There are 13 topics about Waqf in this book. In this book, I discuss 30 topics, 30 topics, 30 topics, and 13 topics about Waqf. So you can read this one for the detail. My explanation there is in the page 17 of this book. And now, what the Indonesian Waqf Board do? This is very interesting. We call it Kalisa, Waqf Peduli Indonesia. Kalisa is a new Waqf movement. This is a movement. This is not a product. Product still in the banking system, like Mudharabah Musyarakah, but the movement, we call it Kalisa. Waqf Peduli Indonesia, new Waqf movement for COVID-19. What is Kalisa? Kalisa is a cash Waqf program that is placed on financial instruments guaranteed by the state and the Indonesian Deposit Insurance Corporation. We call it in Indonesia Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan, with the maximum profit sharing so that the distribution to Makufalah is maximized. Cash Waqf with a minimum of 50,000 rupiah. So for the kawan-kawan ya, 50 rupiah saja kita bisa berwakaf untuk menolong korban COVID. And for the temporary cash Waqf, this is wakaf sementara with a minimum nominal of 1 million rupiah with a minimum tenure of 1 year. So this is like a deposit in bank system. So after 1 year, you will get back your money without any deduction from the money. For example, if you pay 1 million, so next year you get back 1 million of your money. Kalisa will be launched in June 2020. And next Tuesday, we will discuss, we will have a meeting in the Indonesian Waqf Board about this progress of the launching. Inshallah, in Shawwal, before Shawwal ended. So inshallah, this Kalisa will be launched. Kalisa was initiated by the Indonesian Waqf Board as a form of response to the situation of the spread of COVID-19. This Waqf movement aims to raise Waqf fund from the public, corporations, and other institutions. So Waqif can be individual, can be corporation, or can be institution. To be placed in the sukuk instrument and or the Islamic financial instruments like deposits, Mudharabah Musyarakah. For revision Waqf money, we call it LKSPWU, Lembaga Keuangan Syariah Penerima Wakaf Uang, by using coupons and profit sharing deposits to finance handling needs in the field of health, education, and social economy. So there are three as the objection, as the purpose of this Kalisa: health, education, and social economy. So we have 3 programs of Kalisa now. The first one is continue their life. This is the jargon, this is the motto, where the Kalisa cash Waqf investment proceeds will be used for cash assistance funds. For what? For parents of underprivileged students who are affected by the socio-economic pandemic 19. Because let you know about the Indonesian figure of the Indonesian students in the university. Around 30% of the students in the university, they are from the poor people and also from the lower middle class people. So in this pandemic, the economy of their parents affected. So the one purpose of the Kalisa program is how to continue their lives with the cash assistance funds for the parents. The second program is emergency ventilators for regional hospitals. You know, when this pandemic, ventilators will be very significant for the victims of the COVID-19. And one of the university in Indonesia, Institute Teknologi Bandung, or we call it ITB, has made these ventilators, and we got fund. We want to fund it from the Waqf, where the Kalisa cash investment proceeds will be used to procure ventilators in regional hospitals affected by COVID-19. And now in Indonesia, the most affected province is East Java, or we call it Jawa Timur. So inshallah, we will launch these Kalisa programs in Jawa Timur, in East Java, as the region the most affected COVID in Indonesia. And the third program is caring for ulama. You know, when this pandemic came, the ulama get risk, get money from the lecture. They cannot give lecture again. So, but the cash Waqf investment proceeds will be used for the cash assistance funds for the ulama affected by COVID-19 economic impact. So this is, we call it caring for ulama. And with these three programs, inshallah, we will use this Kalisa program to help people affected with the condition of their health, with the economic, also with the social problem. I think the conclusion we can take here in the end, Zakat, donation and alms, or we call it this Zakat Infaq Sadaqah, will increase consumption for the short term, and Waqf will increase investment for the long term. And these two components are the components of GDP. So the components of gross domestic product, consumption, investment, government expenditure, export, import. So when these two consumption and investment increase, automatically GDP also increase, and hopefully the economy will still growth in the long term. So in the short and the long term, this Waqf will increase its GDP. So let's help those who are disrupted by this pandemic with our this Waqf. Wallahu a'lam. Let's pay zakat, infaq, and Waqf. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very interesting and very in-depth presentation by Dr. Hendri Tanjung. Let's pay zakat, infaq, alam, and waqaf, he said. There is also a very interesting program, Kalisa program, and I believe when this program can be socialized and promoted among the people of Indonesia and can be run and operated well by Badan Waqaf Indonesia, it will make a very good impression for our life amidst this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much, Dr. Hendri Tanjung, member of Badan Waqaf Indonesia. And the last panelist from South Africa, Mr. Zeinoul Abedien Cajee. He's now preparing with the presentation. Time for you about 20 and 25 minutes, Mr. Cajee. Please welcome all the audience, Mr. Zeinoul Abedien Cajee from South Africa.
Okay, Jazakallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana lihada wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. It's really a great pleasure for me to be here with all of you, guests from all over India, Pakistan, and Indonesia, Malaysia, and wherever else. And I'm very grateful to all of you and to the organizers for giving me the honor to speak to you and to present to you from South Africa. And, you know, I've just heard the presentations from Indonesia and Malaysia. And of course, those are really big Muslim communities compared to South Africa. So, you know, I will give you some idea of what Muslims are doing here in South Africa and what the South African government is doing. And hopefully we can look at the impact of Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah, Waqf. And I think I would actually would have liked to add one more form of Islamic charity, and that would have been the Qard Hasan, which I think is also an important, and I think what Professor Hendri Tanjung has just mentioned about the Khalisa program resonates with me, because it's actually a kind of a temporary waqf, and it's a kind of a Qard Hasan that people are encouraged to give to Khalisa for 1 year, and which is going to be repaid to them. So I think without much ado, I'm going to go into just talking a little bit about the South African context and so forth. So maybe, if I may, I'll give you a very short video on South Africans, a little bit about the South African Awqaf Foundation, if I may, if I can find this. Okay, so let me just give you this.
Doesn't appear.
Doesn't appear, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a bit of a problem here. Okay, okay, we'll stop that. Better now?
Still doesn't appear.
Okay, I'm going to stop that. I'm trying to stop it.
Try again. Stop first and then try again. Try again.
Replay the video.
Is happening here.
Share screen. Stop the share screen first and then try again.
Okay. I think I've done that. I think I'm going to abort that one. So it doesn't seem to be working. Okay. All right. So let me start off by saying that for us, and I think for most of us, Waqf is the most powerful, sacred, strategic, sustainable, enduring, and empowering of all Islamic voluntary charities. Now, I'm focusing a lot on Waqf because Awqaf South Africa is basically founded on the premise of Waqf as a very important Islamic charity, a charity that has been kind of hidden from Muslims throughout the world for centuries, and is now actually being revived by many countries and many people around the world. Just in this week, there have been 3 international webinars on Waqf itself. So, you know, that shows the importance of it. I'm going to go to the next slide. So just to give you an idea, South Africa, Muslims first came to South Africa in 1652, and ironically, from Indonesia, Malaysia, and you know, from the Southeast Asian countries. And so South Africa has got quite a large percentage of Muslims who have their origins in Indonesia. And hopefully many of you will come and visit South Africa and meet your brothers and sisters here as well. Of course, we've had the situation of colonization by the Dutch and Afrikaans, and now we have the democratic era, and which we have religious freedom and so forth. We also have a population of around 55 million, and Muslims are about 2 to 3%, which is a very small minority compared to your 85% and 60% in Malaysia and Indonesia. So we have different groups of Muslims here in this country. Well, we could call them established Muslim communities, those that were here for 300 years. Then we've had immigrant Muslim communities that have come from other parts of Africa and the Middle East and India, Pakistan, and these mainly after 1994, once we had into the democratic era. And we have emerging Muslim communities, which are local South African, indigenous African Muslims. We have lots of infrastructure in terms of mosques, madrasas, and schools, over 1,000 all over the country. Almost everywhere where there are Muslims, you will find a mosque, a little madrasa, and a school as well. We have, within the Muslim community, we have a kind of a decentralized system of governance. So each mosque and each community would run their own affairs. We don't have any central body that manages and that controls all our organizations. Up to now, or up to about year 2000, no community-based organization was dedicated to Waqf. So as Awqaf South Africa was the first really to start the dedicated Waqf institution. We have several other Muslim NGOs like the Zakat Fund, Gift of the Givers, and many others. And many of these have actually worked in Indonesia as well, like Al-Imdad Foundation, Gift of the Givers, especially during the tsunami and earthquakes and so forth that Indonesia has experienced. So that's about something about South Africa. So if we're talking about the COVID-19 coronavirus, these are the kind of issues, and I think the previous speakers have actually elaborated very, very well on what has been happening in your countries, in Malaysia and Indonesia. But we've experienced an economic downturn. We are expecting our GDP drop by 10%, or between 8 and 10%. That's what the economists are telling us. There's been lots of like business closures and foreclosing of the people aren't able to pay their bonds and so forth. Unemployment has actually increased, and the economists are saying that maybe at the moment already, before the lockdown, before coronavirus, we were already around 30%, between 28 and 30%, and now we may be seeing an unemployment rate of about 40%. So, our situation being one of the wealthiest countries in Africa and the hub of the economy of sub-Saharan Africa is South Africa, we are really in getting into a bit of a mess. We've got hunger, we've got homelessness, our hospitals are filling up. We've had, of course, closure of schools and universities. We are actually in a recession already, and even prior to the lockdown, we were heading for a recession. So, this is just extending the recession. The coronavirus has also exposed the glaring inequalities in South Africa. For example, we have the highest Gini index in the world, where the disparity between poor and rich is the highest. So we really are I think, heading for disaster. Our health facilities are limited. And of course, we've got increasing death rates. We've also had closure of many of our masajid actually are closing because there are people that are now coronavirus infected. They tested positive there. So, even though they are only allowed 50 people at a time, we're finding that even those mosques that are open have to close. We've got about 80,000 infections and about 1,800 people that have passed away. So what happened is when we started when this lockdown started and the outbreak of coronavirus, we got Awqaf South Africa and a few other organizations set up a Muslim COVID-19 response task team. Their function was mainly, before I go there, several Muslim NGOs were contacted and a part of this. So you've got Awqaf South Africa, the National Zakat Fund, Islamic Relief, our Jamiatul Ulama, Muslim Judicial Council, and various others that are part of this task team. And their main execution clusters that were formed to look at and monitor what's happening within the Muslim community and how Muslims are mobilizing themselves, mobilizing money, mobilizing food and other health facilities into welfare and relief, public education, informing the public what's going on, business mobilization and infrastructure, public health, politics, economics, statistics and modeling, media and communications, ulama bodies, student formations. So South African Muslims have spent through the Zakah and Waqf and various other Sadaqah into almost up to 14th of April, actually. I'm giving you figures that are a little bit old. Food hampers, maize meal bags, hand sanitizers, face masks, water, winter clothing. We've also put up various boreholes in poor communities. And this has been, mobilization, lots of Muslim groups. These figures are perhaps incorrect because there were lots of small groups that sprung up and were helping and giving assistance to needy people. The South African government also had a package that is aimed at relieving the economy. They brought in about 500 billion. Some of it is borrowed, some of it is bank finance. But these are packages that are meant to help businesses and so forth, and provide PPE equipment and food and all of that. Then you've also got a solidarity fund that was established by the government, where they got private corporates and thousands of the community to contribute towards this 2.5 billion at the moment solidarity fund. Then, of course, the government has got an unemployment insurance fund. Their social grants. They were from the receiver of revenue tax payment were postponed. The banks reduced the interest rate. Then the banks also gave moratoriums on bond repayments. So now we have, let's just go through this quickly. Our question was, what can Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah, Waqf, and I put a question of Kart Hassan as well, because I think that's also an important financing model within Islamic charity. Various verses of the Quran talk about Infaq, Zakah, Sadaqah, and Kart Hassan. And if you see the number of times and the number of verses, Infaq is mentioned 83 times in 68 verses. Zakat, 42 times in 42 verses. Sadaqah, 16 and 16. The most mentioned of the Fara'id is the Salah. Hajj, only 31 in 23 verses, and Ramadan, Saum in 7 verses. So you can see the financial side of Quranic verses really are 132 compared to the verses of Salah. So it gives you quite an indication of the importance. But I want to just say something about Infaq, because I find I've traveled to Malaysia and Indonesia a few times, and I see that the whole notion of Infaq is quite an important way of spending there. And if one goes into a mosque, you'll see a box there saying Infaq. Now, in South Africa, people don't even know, although it's mentioned so many times in the Quran and we read it all the time, people have literally never heard of this Infaq. So what South Africans really look at is Sadaqah, and that also, it's not really in the broader sense, it's in a more narrower sense. So the way we see Infaq spelled out in the Quran is generally about spending in charity, spending in tijara, in your commerce, spending on family, friends, or on your children. But I think for us, the important thing is this part of it, the sadaqah, which is either the compulsory or voluntary. And here I've just tried to give it in an organogram, that the sadaqah also is in money and in deeds. Because remember that Prophet ﷺ said that even smiling is charity. To help somebody is a sadaqah. And the compulsory sadaqah that we have is zakat and the fitrah. But the voluntary sadaqah that we have is about waqf, qard hasan, and I think I should also mention takaful, because that's also a way in which we can actually help people. Then in South Africa, there's a notion of sadaqah, which generally is known, or maybe even it comes from India as well, sadaqah, and we also call it lillah. So where people just give for the pleasure of Allah. If we look at the difference between zakah and waqf, I know this may be going into a bit more detail, but I think just for our understanding, that zakah is compulsory, waqf is voluntary. Zakah has fixed percentages and is formula-based. Waqf is unlimited. Zakah has fixed categories of people, so we can't just give zakah to anybody. It has to be from the 6 categories from the 8 categories that are mentioned in Surah Tawbah, whereas waqf is much more flexible. Normally, zakah has a bit of a timing when it's annual, whereas waqf is not time-bound. Zakah is mainly consumptive. In other words, it is consumed, whereas waqf has to go into, I think, productive assets. The liability for zakah is governed by nisab, a minimum of nisab, whereas there are conditions to the waqf where you must be owning your asset. So we could go to more detail about it, but I think due to time constraints, I'm not going to go too much into that. So I think just focusing on waqf, and I think the professors out there, Professor Zahari and Professor Tanjung, Hendri Tanjung, they've written substantially on this topic, and they at universities, and I think that they could add a lot more to this. But I think it's important for us to just understand from a waqf perspective a little bit more about some of the salient characteristics of waqf and its benefits. So number one, it's voluntary. So people give out of the goodness of their hearts. Nobody is obligated to give. In fact, if you saw the verses of the Quran, nowhere is the word waqf mentioned. So we inferring from qard hasan, from infaq, from sadaqah, and all the other verses that encourage us to give. And of course, from the authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about waqf, and historically speaking, how people have actually gone about giving of their wealth in their properties in terms of a waqf. And here we find that even and it's historically recorded that almost every Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ, every companion of his, that had some wealth gave and made a waqf. So it's important. We can't stress it more than that. No fixed amount. You can give anything that you want to give, whether it's 1 ringgit, 1 rand, $1, or more, up to you. It's always capital, it's movable or immovable assets, it's long-term, and there's sustainability. And the Waqf helps to create resilience in an economy. And I remember a conference that I attended in Indonesia, where the Reserve Bank governor mentioned that the Waqf is a shock absorber of the economy. So, which means that the importance that is actually given to the Waqf system resonates very, very strongly with, I think, the Indonesian Reserve Bank, Bank Indonesia. So Waqf gives us self-reliance and independence. If we have a very strong Waqf system, civil society that we can actually depend on, we don't have to depend on government. We can actually help ourselves and help our communities. Of course, there's a limitation in the Waqf system. According to the Waqfiyah, we can only spend what the Waqif actually has determined in the Waqfiyah. Then, of course, you have the objectives of the Maqasid al-Sharia, that the objectives of Waqf should actually plug into Maqasid, that is protection of life, protection of wealth, protection of mind and aql, protection of family, protection of dignity, and so forth. So you have this as quite an important. Then you've got the Sustainable Development Goals, and there's 17 of them. Of course, there are criticisms about it as well. And so Waqf essentially differs from Infaq and Zakat in substantial ways, and I think it's important to understand that. So one of the things about Waqf, there's quite a few other characteristics, and I can't actually go through all of them, but one of the things that I like to talk about is communitization. That means we're taking out of our private wealth and putting it forward into community space. It's not into the public sector. It's not nationalization. It's not privatization, but communitization is about taking out of private individuals from civil society and putting it back into the community, into public use. It's also about resource mobilization, and I think that's exactly what Kalisa is doing, resource mobilization, and you know, giving people the feeling that they're contributing towards the upliftment of others. Then, of course, there's the wasiyah in people's wills, which we often forget, and we don't sort of emphasize that and give guidance to people that they could actually use their Islamic wills to leave some of their wealth for as waqf. There's personal freedom of giving. It's a revival of the Sunnah. It's actually a community sovereign fund. You have a state sovereign fund, and you could have a community sovereign fund, and the Waqf becomes that fund. It's a civilization builder, as some of the speakers in the past have mentioned. It's about wealth redistribution. It's about investing in the country, where you have fixed direct investments. And of course, some of the characteristics are that it's inalienable, irrevocable, perpetual. Sometimes it also has a limited lifespan. And we've seen that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, where Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu gave his horses, and that horse has a limited lifespan. Of course, there's a lot of thawab and benefit for people. We know that the general notions about charity, and this is perpetual charity, Sadaqah Jariyah, So ongoing charity, and the Prophet ﷺ has said that this is one of the good deeds that never ends. It will continue until Qiyamah. So, you know, it has been quite an important aspect of it as well. So,
sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry for interrupting. We have 3 minutes more.
Okay. So basically, I'm just going to go through telling you, right, some of the initiatives that have been happening in South Africa. There's the Share the Care Meal South Africa, 1 million people at 100 Rand. This is a project that is going on now. 1 million maize meal bags, 12.5 kilo bags that are being distributed. And you can see in this picture, this was done on the 14th of May, and you can see that hundreds and hundreds of people are queuing up where Muslims are distributing food. This is something that we're talking about, also the food security. And food and hunger is about the most important thing. We're looking at raising 100 million Rand, which is about, let's say, 100 million Rand divided by 17, which is about $5 to $6 million. But it's collecting money from the public and going beyond the Muslim community as well. Then we also establishing a food security Waqf, which would be an ongoing Waqf. And this food security Waqf will be used mainly for agriculture purposes, developing agriculture projects. We see also that post-pandemic planning, what should we do for the next decade? So as Awqaf South Africa, we're looking at targeting 100,000 families to contribute 100 rands per month and to build up R1 billion and $1 billion Waqf fund. We also have another initiative, which is called the Gift of Hope Foundation, where some big Muslim businesses got together and they put up a fund of $30 million with Al Barakah Bank, and Awqaf South Africa donated about 5 million of it, which is about $500,000. Basically, this initiative is going to be giving interest-free loans to small, medium enterprises that have suffered during the COVID virus period. So I think also a way forward, and in conclusion, I would like to say that, well, first of all, I'm very happy to hear about the Kalisa initiative. I was going to say that maybe Indonesia, Malaysia should also create broad-based Waqf institutions where they are public, they are involved the population, and they're well managed. They're not private institutions only, but it's something that helps to mobilize community wealth. These are just some of the investments that Awqaf South Africa has made, and I'll just go through them very quickly. From the Waqf monies that come in, these are investments. This is a elders' home, various projects that we are involved in, and masjid renovations, water, elders' care facilities, even think tanks, book publishing, sports and recreation, and there we go. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone for listening. And if there are any questions or anything, I'll be very happy to answer. And I hope I've provided sufficient insight into what I was asked to do. Jazakallah khairan, barakallahu feek, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Zeinoul Abidin Cajee, for a very good presentation for us. So we have a big picture of different countries, Indonesia, in Malaysia, and South Africa, in dealing with this economic downturn that happens in all countries. Okay, time is running fast. The second session now, question and answer. In my chat, private chat, many questions audience submitted to me. Perhaps is there any direct question for the panels, all panels from the audience may raise using the raise hand in the Zoom.
Ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for my friend Mr. Sofiandi. I'm Yulfiswandi from Batam, Indonesia. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Thank you very much for Professor Wan from Malaysia, and I thanks to Mr. Hendri Tanjung, Dr. Hendri Tanjung. He is my lecturer in Trisakti actually. And also thank you very much for Mr. Zeinoul. Thank you very much for all presentation, for interesting presentation. Actually, I'm very glad to join this program because I can increase my knowledge, especially in Islamic economy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, to reduce the spread of this outbreak or COVID-19 is by social or physical distancing. But unfortunately, this movement or way affect to decline in overall economic activity. In the theory of economics, a physical distancing or limitation of community activity will result in decrease in aggregate supply. Decrease in aggregate supply in the economy that affect to the decrease in the amount of production or quantity of product. Well, the condition where people who only stay at home based on the law of supply and demand will gradually cause a decrease in aggregate demand. Decrease in aggregate demand means amount of production will continue. This process of slowing down the economic change will disrupt the real economic fundamental and also damage the market mechanism between demand and supply. These vital aspects of the economic, namely supply, demand, and supply chain, have been disrupted. Then the impact of this crisis will be felt equally across all levels of society. And my question is, how can Indonesia overcome this economic problem? And we know that as a country with the largest Muslim population in the world, actually Muslims have financial instrument like Zakat, Waqf, and Infaq. Just now, they all my lecturer presented like this. So, but unfortunately, especially Indonesia, the realization of Zakat is still far from expectation. So, how to make Muslim aware of paying Zakat, Waqf, and etc. to contribute in solving this economic problem. Thank you very much for Mr. Sofiandi and also my teacher. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is there anyone who wants to give a question to all the panels? Or perhaps we listen to the answer from all the panel right now. Perhaps one from Dr. Hendri Tanjung. The question from Mr. Yulfiswandi. Mr. Yulfiswandi is actually also the member of Badan Waqaf Indonesia for Kota Batam. So is also a Waqaf presentation from Batam. Please, Mr. Hendri Tanjung, to answer the question.
Yeah. Actually, there is a need of awareness of the people, right? And how to do that? This is the question, how to do that? I think all of us should be responsible for this one. All of us meaning that all individuals in this country who knows that Zakat, Infaq, Sadaqah, and Waqf is very important. So they should campaign this to at least for their family, for his family, his wife, his sons, his daughter, and his uncle, and to the near relative. Okay, so if this movement or this strategy applied to all people in Indonesia, I think the problem of the awareness of the zakat is solved. And the second one, this is the importance of the education. For example, school, right? I didn't know Waqf when I was in the junior high school. I didn't know Waqf that I was in the primary high school. No, I just know Waqf when I was in university. So this is the lack of our system to educate people, to educate the next generation with the Waqf system. That's why Indonesian Waqf Board launched a movement or a program. We call it Waqf Goes to Campus or Waqf Goes to School. So we hope that the students now, after 5 years, 10 years, when they enter to the labor market, and then they have income, so they can pay Waqf for this purpose. So I think that is my question for the answer for the that's my answer for the question of Yulfis, and then I think we can discuss more again in the WhatsApp, or you can call me privately. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we should hear the experience of South Africa and Malaysia, how they attract people to do Waqf especially. Perhaps Mr. Zeinoul, can you tell us the experience to attract people to pay to perform Waqf in South Africa?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think it's a very, very important question because, as I said earlier, that the whole Waqf system went literally underground because of colonization, nationalization, and the idea was to destroy this system so that Muslims become dependent. So the idea now is for revival, and for revival we need to make more and more people aware of it. So, of course, media is very important. We have a program once a month or in a Muslim newspaper with an article about Waqf that goes every month. We started it in 2013, and right now it goes every month. There's one article, and we invite scholars from all over the world to actually contribute. Then I think another very important area for propagating the Waqf ideas and knowledge is through our mosques. And our ulama should be trained to more about Waqf, not only just about its rules and regulations, but in terms of its civilizational and developmental goals. So, I mean, that's another area. We have hundreds and thousands of mosques. Why can't these be why can't the ulama talk about it? How many times have we heard ulama talking about Waqf in the masjid? So that's another area. Of course, now there's social media, so we can do that as well. We have television campaigns. So on television, every time you do a project, we must inform radio stations, we must inform television stations of what's happening, what projects that we're doing, what is Waqf, and explaining the concept, and more people will come to know. And I think I'm with Brother Hendri when he said he didn't know about Waqf until he came to university. So I didn't know about Waqf until I was past university. I only got to know it when I went to a training program at Islamic Development Bank, which we didn't even know what it was there. We were just told we're going for a training program, and that's the first time we got exposed to the whole Waqf system, and it really resonated with us that this is something that we need to establish. So the other thing is raising money and talking to people. A lot of it depends on one-on-one, because people are not aware of it. It needs us to talk to other people. And here we need to train thousands of like volunteers or ambassadors or foot soldiers so that they understand what it is, and they can go talk to their families, they can talk to their loved ones and their friends and people at work, and and in that way create this this wave of a movement. I like that word, that it's a movement. So Waqf should be a movement because at the end of the day, we'll be getting zakah, we'll be spending it. The Waqf is the only sustainable solution that we have, that we can use. And I don't want to go into that part of it, but I think the one-on-one and group meetings and continuous having little groups of people, families, like you have in many marketing campaigns, direct marketing, where I don't know, where in Indonesia, Malaysia, you have these Tupperware parties. Somebody is interrupting me. Okay, you have these little party functions and so forth. Invite your friends and family, and but you can only do that if you know what the product is all about, what Waqf is all about. So therefore, we need to train a lot of people. Of course, schools, madrasas, at the moment, they don't even have this in their syllabus. We have introduced it as university courses at some universities. And I think a lot of universities now around the world have courses on Waqf as well, which is something great. And there's lots of conferences and webinars taking place as well. So, we can find a lot of other ways of actually communicating with pamphlets and little leaflets and, in student youth groups, also the Muslim students associations at universities, to train them to talk to their peers and talk to their young people, because we need to get young people to know about it, because that's the next generation, and the future of Islam is in their hands. So we've got to get it to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Very in-depth answer from Mr. Zeinoul bin Cajee. And I wonder whether Prof. Wan is still on line with us, because he got a trouble and disconnected. Mr. Professor Wan?
Okay, just now, that's okay.
Okay.
Line's okay.
Alhamdulillah. Professor Wan, the question is, I do believe that the level of Waqf awareness in Malaysia is higher than Indonesia. Indonesia learned a lot from Malaysia through Islamic Bank and everything from Malaysia. And how, what have you done in Malaysia so you have that high level of awareness of on Waqf among the people of Muslim in Malaysia?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Sofyandi. I think maybe Indonesia also very good in Waqf, and we learn a lot from Indonesia. And I agreed with Dr. Hendri Tanjung. The awareness is very important. The awareness, the readiness to give Waqf and contribution. And another one is education. I will touch on education. Alhamdulillah, from 5 years back, the government of Malaysia, through the Ministry of Education, establish dana wakaf tunai pendidikan. Okay. The fund cash wakaf in all the public university and also private universities. So that's very good. This the strategy to create awareness and to involve all the scholars to involve in wakaf and charity. That's our strategy. And through this, we do a lot of projects. For example, for the maybe some of the universities doing hotels and also the hostel through wakaf. And then, as you know, wakaf is long lasting. Okay, I think so the strategy is through universities, and traditionally, of course, through the SIRC, State Islamic religious. We have 14 states in Malaysia. All right. Then we try to improve the awareness and the involvement of all parties in the wakaf. Inshallah, I think from that strategy, we can see that a lot of improvement, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Wan.
Brother Sofyan, I want to add one thing.
Okay.
I just wanted to say.
And also there is a role of the colonialism. Why? Because before Dutch came to Indonesia, the Waqf in the Aceh, for example, and in the Sumatra is very significant. But when Dutch or colonial came to Indonesia, they dwarf the Waqf. They stunt the Waqf. They make Waqf to the three also subject: masjid, makam or graveyard, and also for madrasah. They don't want to make wakaf significant to the economy. Why? Because if the Muslim economy develop, they fear that they will get the independence. So this is the strategy of the colonialism in Indonesia. 350 years. You can imagine it. This is not short term. This is very long term. Maybe 20 generations, I think. They make a stunt or they dwarf this meaning of Waqf. I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Cajee, please.
I just wanted to mention that I think, for example, in Indonesia, there are some significant Waqf organizations. The Azhar Waqf, that's based in Jakarta, and the Indonesia Bir Waqf, or Indonesia also, and they've got some unique ways of actually creating awareness. I know that the Indonesia Bir Waqf, they have volunteers that go out and they mobilize cash wakaf from people. So by them actually going out to people, they have to know the product. It's like almost like the people that are involved in insurance. They have to know the product before they can sell it. So, but they have volunteers that actually go out and they mobilize quite a bit of money in as wakaf. So I think Indonesia has got that knowledge. And like Brother Hendri says, that Indonesia had very old wakafs there as well. And I think from our understanding, you've got like about 400,000 wakaf lands and so forth in Indonesia, which means that the older generations were very much aware of this economic system, this wakaf system, where they had actually given part of their wealth fi sabilillah as waqf. So it's a question of revival now, you know, of getting our ducks in a row and presenting new ideas of mobilization. And that's why we need to actually have a movement that will just focus on it all the time and encourage people training programs for ulama and for various professionals at universities and students, and just get the whole country going, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.
All right. There is one, I think, is very interesting question from Muhammad Iqbal. He said, all the panels has already given a very large explanation, but only on the side of ontology and epistemology. The question is, how could Islamic economics survive and overcome the crisis? Why don't we use single currency such as dinar or dirham in our transaction daily? So this is the question for all the panel.
Okay, I would like to answer first, okay? This is about how to use dinar as the one of a currency. Yeah, actually on 30th century, when there is a kingdom in Aceh, we call it Samudra Pasai, with the king is Sultan Malikus Saleh. There are five coins. There are five currency in the Sultanate region. First one is dinar. The second one is dirham. The third one is rupiah. The fourth one is peso, and the fifth one is ringgit. And now, these all five currencies applied in countries. For example, dinar Kuwait, dirham United Arab, UAE, rupiah in Indonesia, India, Pakistan, peso in Philippines, and ringgit in Malaysia. So look how the Sultanate of Samudra Pasai make a contribution to all region, in not also in the Asia, also in the Gulf countries. So if we reduce to the one currency or to the two currency like dinar and dirham, there's I think there is a problem of the small currency in Indonesia. In the Mamluk also, in the Mamluk there are three currency: dinar, dirham, and fulus. Okay, fulus for the small currency, for the small nominal. So we cannot make it unite to the one, but we can make some kind of currencies that can adopt the need of the people. I think that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Zahari. Your answer, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Very challenging question. Very good idea, but very difficult to implement.
Yes.
Because in the world we have big brothers, and in Malaysia actually in the previously our former Prime Minister Tun Mahathir previously suggests to the Islamic organization to implement the dirham or dinar currency. But of course, this is very challenging because not all of the Muslim countries, sometimes they are controlled by the other big brothers, all right. But for the starting, for me, that's very good. If we can start with the barter system from the export between, for example, from South Africa with Indonesia, or from Indonesia to Malaysia. Let's say the agriculture, food, and everything, barter system. So we don't use, no need to use the dollar system and everything. This for the start. And of course, this good idea, and this is the right time for us if we can consolidate and try to do this. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cajee. Prof. Zahari said it is the moment actually to consolidate. So what do you say about this?
I think it is, like Professor said, difficult to implement. There have been lots of initiatives for the gold dinar and so forth. So I think ultimately it's a question of restructuring the economic system. And that, I think, is a major mammoth task. Maybe COVID-19 has brought us to some kind of understanding that the current economic system, where the rich get richer, poor get poorer, needs some kind of reform. Not only reform, but like restructuring. And I think for that, you know, I mean, the big countries need to really get involved in that. I know some countries, the big powerful countries, imagine like America couldn't have got food security problems. You know, they literally in a bankrupt situation, but they still carry on. So how does that economy work? You know, Allah knows best. But I think the idea is good, to go back to the gold and silver, to real money value, but I think it needs a real economic restructuring. So you know, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you very much. To reconstruct the system, it's a very hard task and very difficult thing to be done, because a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge, and everything to contribute in that work, I think. Okay, I think time is actually over. Time is actually over, but there is one question from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 audience. There is the same question from them regarding the Waqf awareness that we have already spoken before. From Dr. Rafidah Neri, and also our brother Muhammad Musfawi. They said that the problem of Waqf, Zakat now in Indonesia, especially, I don't know it is also in Malaysia or not, is people actually people want to perform Zakat and Waqf, but the problem is trust. They don't trust the board of Waqf, the board of Zakat. They don't trust how they manage the asset and that thing, because the country, developing country, we know corruption and something like that is always occur. So what do you think about trust problem in this matter? Mr. Cajee?
Yeah, I think also, you know, in the whole Waqf system, probably that is the most important thing, because if people lose trust, they're not going to contribute. So the thing is that we have to build trust. Trust is built, it doesn't come overnight. And trust can only be built with having good, credible people on your board, people who are not there for money, people who don't actually earn any salary from the organization, people who are committed, they're passionate, they have a vision, and in their own financial dealings and all that, there's a credible people in the community. There's a mix of people. There's the best corporate governance principles that govern the organization, and bodies like BWI and so forth, as regulators, can actually ensure that there's proper accounting, proper transparency, proper accountability, and regular rotation of trustees. Checks and balances are there. So, you know, nowadays, even these big corporations have a law. They have to state in their financial statements about their corporate governance. The big companies on the stock exchanges, we have a report that's called the King Report 4, and that has been improving all the time. and it's quite a thick document, and it goes into detail as to all the corporate governance practices that need to be put into place to ensure that there's proper recording, proper accounting, proper reporting. Donors need to be advised as to where the money is going to, and maybe like the blockchain technology, all of those things. And now with internet and, people must be able to access their Waqf accounts in the books of the organization. They need to know exactly where the funds are going. And in that way, we can build trust. And over time, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but a start has to be made. So I think good corporate governance must be part of a fundamental policy and principle of any Waqf institution. And everybody, all the mutawallis or nadirs need to commit to and sign like they would do, in a parliament where they swear to Allah that they are going to be conducting themselves in the most ethical way and with integrity and honesty. So, I believe that it is possible. We have now developed a corporate governance charter even for our own organization, and we're developing a corporate governance charter for Muslim NGOs. Even the Bank Indonesia is currently looking at the Waqf core principles and the risk management. So all this is going to help to actually guide organizations into good corporate governance, so that ultimately people's money is protected and it's well invested. And I think hopefully, more and more people begin to trust the organization. That's the only way you're going to grow. Otherwise, we're not going to grow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Prof. Wan, how about the trust? Please unmute your speaker. Please unmute your speaker, Prof. Wan.
Sorry.
All right.
Very sensitive question. But exactly, I agree with Mr. Zeinoul Abedien. And then in Malaysia scenarios, Waqf is governed by Sultan, and after that, Mufti, religious council, and everything. That's very hierarchy. The hierarchy is very tight, as mentioned by Mr. Zeinoul Abedien, the governance, corporate governance, and not easy to use the Waqf to do any project. They want to ensure that Waqf is perpetual. So the governance, the structure, and everything, accounting system must be very good. And this ensure that all the monies handled in good manner. And of course, the important thing is the donators or the Waqf want to see how, where the money they contribute goes. That's very important. I think that's all my answer. All right.
Okay. Dr. Hendri Tanjung, tafadhol.
Yeah, I think this is in line with the Al-Quran Surat Yusoff verse 55. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Ij'alni ala khazainil ard inni hafizun alim. So Prophet Yusoff said that, okay, make me as a minister of logistics, and I will, because I am trusted people and also professional. Inni hafizun alim. So the first one must be trust people or trust institution. So how to make institution trusted? The first one is the management aspect. So in Indonesian Waqf Board, we train people, we train Nazir how to make good corporate governance, and we issue the Waqf corporate principle that mentioned by Brother Zeinoul Abedien, because he's also the one of the team to write the Waqf principle. And the second one, from the supervision. So Indonesian Waqf Board has a authority to punish people, because in the law of Act 41 2004 about Waqf, in the section 67, there's a punishment to the fraud nazir. Fraud nazir, if they sell the Waqf property, they will punish 5 years in jail and also 5 million rupiah as a punishment for them. So I think with these two, management and also supervision, it inshallah in the next year, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, Waqf system will be better. And for the people, for the Waqif, just pay the Waqf, okay? So if you want to invest for the future, just pay the Waqf. Even though the Waqf used for what else? No, so don't no need to ignore about that one. Okay, my property where now? No, because we also now building the blockchain as one management aspect to make sure that the property Waqf will be used properly. I think that's my answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. The audience keep chatting me. Please edit times. Please edit sometimes. But actually, we are running out of time right now. We come to the last session. That is the closing statement. Please now, I want Mr. Zeinoul Abedien Cajee to present his closing statement, and then Dr. Hendri Tanjung, and the last Professor Wan. Please, Mr. Cajee.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think starting from the COVID experience has once again shown us that that community mobilization and community resources are very important, because, as one of the speakers said, government can't do everything. And we've got this from the time of our Prophet ﷺ, that the Waqf movement was civil society. It was about ordinary people, the Sahaba and the Ummah that had some wealth that they gave. It wasn't the government that did everything from that time onwards. The Baitul Mal was there, but Baitul Mal wasn't there to do everything. It was also individuals and civil society, and we have ample evidence from the Quran which encourages us all the time, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, to give out of what we love. So there is no doubt that we have systems, and that unfortunately these systems have been neglected, and that there are many of us around the world that feel very strongly, and more people should actually be looking at this. Even I mean, from government level, your government in Indonesia is very proactive in promoting the Waqf as well. So I think we need to encourage levels of government, ulama, everybody across the board in different groupings and professions, and people that have influence, to be able to spread the knowledge. And I think what is very important is that we need to move towards setting up community-based organizations that will look at mobilization and education, advocacy, and and create partnerships across the board, and forget about all the disunity that we have in the Ummah, and work with everybody in a harmonious way to build the Ummah again from where we are at the moment. And I think that, inshallah, with everybody's hands put together, I think we can make a big difference, and we can revive the system, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. Dr. Hendri Tanjung, please.
Yeah. Only short closing statement. I would like to invite all of you to join Kalisa movement if you care to the COVID-19 victims. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing some program of socialization of it. All right, Professor Wan, please.
Okay, thank you very much. We are at the end of the session. Inshallah, a lot of this we discuss. I just want to share actually the concluding remarks. Can we rely on zakat, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf? This waqf. Okay. Actually, perlunya pengembelingan semua pihak. All the parties. For example, pemerintah yang prihatin, the caring government, badan-badan agama yang bertanggungjawab, religious body that give the best responsible, pengurus-pengurus ziswat yang amanah, that can be trusted, ziswat managers that can be trusted, and NGO and badan amal yang gigih beramal, that doing the job, the NGO that doing their best job, and individual yang bersifat belas kasihan dan dambakan kasih sayang. The individual that good who caring and loving their brothers. Alright. So what can we do? Ada yang sumbang idea, ada yang sumbang tenaga, ada yang sumbang masa, ada yang sumbang expertise, ada yang sumbang harta, mal or property, ada yang sumbang doa, ada yang sumbang sedikit, ada yang sumbang banyak. Ada yang sumbang contribute in silent, ada yang contribute in open. Ada yang baru ada niat nak menyumbang dan ada yang tak bertangguh menyumbang. This all we should contribute, whether in tenaga, hands, expertise, ideas, harta, or times. And as we mentioned that the Quran, Surah Al Imran, ayat 92, you shall not attain righteousness until you spend out of what you love in the way of Allah. Allah knows whatever you spend. Alright. And gabungan kepada sumbangan itu dinamakan kebersamaan. Alright. Kebersamaan yang menjambat kita menuju kesuksesan. And sharing is blessing. Sharing is blessing. That is the doctrine of this waqf actually. And if we can do this, inshallah we can achieve towards prosperity ummah and nation. Sekian. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for all the panels, for all the presentation and explanation, and also all the answer of the question that have already been forwarded. I think it's also for me a time to close the webinar. I'm very honored and very thankful for having Dr. Hendri Tanjung, a member of Waqf, Indonesian Waqf Board, and also for having Professor Wan Zahari, Waqf expert from Universiti Tun Hussein on Malaysia, and also for having Mr. Zeinoul Abedien Cajee from far away from Indonesia, from South Africa. Winter now, he said, about 4 degrees right now. It's very cold. And thank you very much for all the audience. I believe, I'm sure that it's very valuable webinar that we have today. The key word is stick together, help each other, and do not hesitate to trust the economic system that belong to Islam, because there will be there will be very important contribution that Islam has already provided within its teaching that's related to the maslahah al-ammah. I think it is my my last word. Again, thank you very much. The material from all the panel will be distributed through the emails of the audience after this webinar. All the panel will send their material to the organizer, and it is from me. If all the audience want to say privately to the L panels, it's still open right now. And for me enough. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Mr. Cajee.
Okay.
Mr. Cajee.
Yeah. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Dr. Hendri.
Please keep in touch.
Keep in touch. Yeah, keep in touch. We should have another occasion, another webinar on Waqf, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. With
Thank you, Dr.
I think we need to get more information about the Kalisa project.
Yeah, Kalisa project. It's a new project by Dr. Hendri Tanjung. I'm curious about it.
I will call Mr. Zeinoul privately then. Okay. Thank you for all.
Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bagi bapak-bapak yang belum absen, silakan isi absennya yang sudah ada di link. Bagi yang belum sempat, silakan untuk chat pribadi ke Pak Ricci. Ustaz Sofiandi, terima kasih banyak sudah memandu acara kita hari ini. Yes.
Bapak Ibu, besok kita masih ada satu seminar lagi di jam yang sama, ya, jam 2 siang nanti kami yang akan di dalam grup. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Sekarang apa tadi? Nampak. Masuk. Kita tutup dari sini. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih Ustaz Sofiandi Sanusi yang sudah memandu acara.
Oke, thank you.
Thank you Pak Dokter.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Peserta sekalian. Yang belum sempat absensi, silakan chat pribadi ke Pak Rezki untuk pengiriman sertifikat. Baik, wallahu muwaffiq ila aqwamit thariq. Kita bertemu di besok hari.
Hanya yang minta tambah waktu.
Minta tambah waktu. Sampai pukul besok, kalau pukul 5 lah ya, nak. Besok materi kita tentang konsep toleransi dan kebebasan beragama dalam Islam dan agama lain. Ini ada 5 profesor yang menjadi, insya Allah akan hadir menjadi pembicara kita di webinar. Oke, kita undur diri, panitia undur diri. Terima kasih buat semuanya. Ustaz Sofiandi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih.
Anjang tak beranja, Anjang.
Ada lah. Kan dengar orang pakai basung putih.
Basung putih. Kalau kita bahasa orang Belang, Jang.
Itu dia.
Ya, Bapak.
Pak Reki.
Ya.
Saya, Pak. Iya, mohon maaf saya Nanang Naisabur, Pak.
Ya, oke.
Tadi saya kesalahan upload absensi.
Ya, oke. Tapi sudah daftar kan, Pak?
Oh, udah.
Ya, oke.
Dan saya ngikutin dari awal sampai selesai.
Ya, yang penting subscribe-nya, Pak.
Ya.
Biar kita bisa optimalkan TV.
Anjang sudah subscribe belum tuh?
Sudah absen.
Untuk dapat sertifikatnya gimana nih?
Nanti dikirim, Pak, linknya otomatis nanti kita kirim otomatis.
Enggak, saya kan ada kesalahan upload itu.
Enggak masalah. Yang penting namanya benar kan?
Oh, benar.
Yang penting sertifikatnya, Pak, dibantu.
Iya.
Saya
dari S.Si Al-Falah, Pak Riki.
Ya, salam kenal Pak Riki.
Iya. Bandung.
Komisi Pemilihan.
Baik, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Nanang.
Ya, bangga. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Besok lagi ya, Jang.
Oke, besok lagi jam 2.
Besok seru tuh, besok tuh.
Jam berapa tuh?
Jam 2.
Oke, insya.
Seru besok tuh.
Besok lagi, insya Allah.
Bukan baru aman panjang.
Aman juga lah, gini aman begitulah.
Kabarnya yang BRI ditutup ya?
Hah?
Yang BRI, kantor BRI yang di Pasar Kodim?
Oh iya,
ada Fauzi Manda. Ada Fauzi Manda.
Mana Fauzi Manda tak muncul?
Itu nampak kepala.
Oh, nampak kok Pak pakai masker di mana masker nih?
Keluar ya.
Tuh.
Itu baru nampak.
Terima kasih.
Besok Ji, seru Ji.
Besok siapa?
Besok kebebasan beragama itu, Budi.
Baik. Oke, mantap. Oke, terima kasih.
Yang moderator dari dia?
Moderator.
Pak Hendri besok.
Oke. Yuk.
Tanya deh, Jan, dah siap tadi, nanti tak ada belum muncul.
Di Facebook.
Insya Allah jadi, karena rencanakan besok ada pertemuan. Cuma dia tak ikut karena mungkin persiapan itu mungkin.
Oh iyalah. Kalau bagus tuh moderatornya 2 orang tuh sama Fauzi itu pas tuh, Fauzi itu ilmunya juga.
Ya, Bang Fauzi moderator juga sekalian besok kan. Biar sambung-sambung.
Mantap masuk itu.
Yalah, saya pamit dulu ya, nak sembahyang.
Pamit juga.
Oke, sama-sama. Yuk.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.